we being influenced by the influencers on social media? It's something that I've been mulling over these last few days around. A lot of us are selling up and moving to van life, basically wanting a freer life. And it got me thinking about the phrase, "you alone, nothing will be happy." So what actually has triggered this thought was I've watched a couple of van life videos from people who've sold houses. One was a mortgage advisor, a woman, sold up, and she's now living in her van. And another chap sold a house with which he had no mortgage on it, and now he's living in his van and he's living off that money. And I pretty much did the same thing. Now, I didn't have any thought behind what I did at the time. I was grieving. I was in a lot of fear around what was going on around COVID, a lot of fear around the talk that the housing market was going to crash, the banks were going to steal your money, and the landlords, they were basically changing the rules and regulations around renting property out. So my decision to sell houses and buy, which I didn't know at the time, depreciating assets. So I basically own nothing now. I was quite fortunate that I didn't put all my money into these, and I have invested elsewhere, which hopefully will do well for me. Crypto and precious metals. So I wasn't a complete idiot with everything. But with people's desperation, that's not the right word. Desperation's not the right word. But people are wanting freedom. People are absolutely sick to death of the impingement that is being cast upon them. They're recognising the slave system that we do live in. So they're making decisions like selling property and buying vans to live in. And a lot of this, I believe, has been instigated by the influencers who are buying vans worth around £100,000. Let's face it, you can buy a house for £100,000. Okay, not all of us are in the position to buy a van for £100,000. But the vans are depreciating assets. And maybe it's more to do with the fact that people are realising that freedom is worth more than owning assets. So there are two ways to look at this. We are being driven into a lifestyle by the oligarchs, who are saying you alone, nothing can be happy. I mean, the reality is, if we're really going to talk about this, we don't own anything anyway. You know, if you look at your V5, your logbook, it says registered keeper. We don't own our cars, our vans, houses. If you've got a mortgage on them, you don't own it. Even if you haven't got mortgages on these properties, you still don't own them, because if you go up against the system, which a friend of mine experienced, she tried to go up against the system and stop paying certain bills. She got a letter saying, if you don't pay this bill, we're going to take your house off you. That house is a mortgage-free house. Equally, a farmer where I keep my horses, because he's got X amount of assets worth X amount, which, let's face it, is an overinflated amount. It's not really worth any money. The farmer actually said to me, my land's worth more to me at £1 an acre, by which I said, do you want to sell me a couple of acres then? By which he laughed, obviously. But when his dad passes away, he's got to pay an astronomical amount of inheritance tax. Well, he hasn't got that liquid money, so he's going to have to forsake some of his land. And because he will still be left with assets, they're going to take 91% of his pension. So he's going to have to sell yet more land. So do we really own anything anyway? So we've been in a society up until this point where we have been conditioned to own, thinking that we're going to have security at the end of it all, when the reality is there isn't going to be any security. There is no security. And I think people are realising that. I mean, if you look through any of my other videos, you will understand that I come from a very esoteric perspective, from an astrological perspective. Everything that's happening now is as it should be. We've got the dark and the light, the good and the bad, whatever you want to call it, and we are in a spiritual war. So the very fact that people are wanting freedom, they're choosing lifestyles which is going to offer them this freedom. But by the end of it, we literally will own nothing. But I was thinking about this on the way home in the car. Should we really be owning anything anyway? Because if you think about this from a soul perspective, we didn't come here to be slaves. We didn't come here to fear living our lives because we might not be able to pay a bill. We came here to experience. And for a lot of us, that experience is, well, I can't do this because I've got that bill to pay. So it hinders us living our lives. So the idea of owning nothing and you being happy, I think could be quite appealing if we are not impinged upon the things that do make us happy. Like for me, it's my animals. They make me happy. So if I could live my life freely and not own anything and do the things that truly make me happy, that sounds very appealing, to be honest. But anyway, back to my original point, because I do tend to go off on tangents. People selling houses, that is, but maybe it's just the way it's supposed to be. This whole you will own nothing and be happy, maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be. As I said, as souls in the spirit world, we don't own anything anyway. We're free beings. And if we don't own anything and we've got no responsibilities, then we are free, because we are the only species that pays to live on this planet. They've also got us paying for other species to be here as well. But because we are moving into a new astrological age, maybe this owning nothing and you'll be happy isn't something that the elitists are wanting. It's something that has to happen for our soul to be able to evolve, to live more in nature. And absolutely, we've got the smart city, we've got the AI element of it. But if you go back and watch a couple of my other videos around AI and a different perspective on AI's role within society, is it about control or spiritual evolution? I just wanted to throw a couple of things out there. Yeah. Anyway, I shall speak to you all soon.